Hello. And welcome back to episode 10
Welcome
of
back, everybody.
the Not Okay, It's Okay podcast. This is a safe space where we can not be okay and share about it. Rashidah and I are here to offer our truth and our /truth/professional/ whatever.
Whatever you want.
Yeah. So
Yes.
welcome back. It's been a little bit. We took a little time off.
Little resting.
Self-care.
Yes.
And so we are back today, and today's topic is
self-compassion.
Self-compassion.
Ooh.
Yes.
The mystery word.
Yeah. And we are also here with Olivia, who has been
killing
it for our social media. You have noticed that it has all of a sudden just stepped up its game.
Yes. And our social media manager, shout out.
All of a sudden, we have a color palette and some content stuff happening.
Just flowing.
So that's because of Olivia. She's teaching us, so she's here. You can't see her. Here, come here. Come. Yeah, of course you can. Look. Look how cute she is. Here, look, it's over there. Say hi. Say hi. There she is. So we are happy to have her on board.
Thank you.
She has been killing it. So,
yes.
Self-compassion. What is it? Definition? Should I start? You want to start?
Yeah,
What do you want to start?
I think we should start with a definition.
Okay.
You know, our fans, they're here.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
I love how you call them our fans. I love it.
They are.
I think of it as like our little like our it's not like a book club. It's like a chat club. I love it. Whatever. Fans,
I
if
just
you're
feel like
fans,
we're
that's
celebrities
amazing.
and we have fans.
It's awesome. So hey guys, and welcome back. Thank you for joining. So definition, self-compassion. You, me, who's
You go first.
Okay, so the dictionary definition would be concern with alleviating suffering.
Interesting.
Right. So, fortunately and unfortunately, though, this definition, most people take that as concern with alleviating other people's suffering and often skip the self part.
Yeah.
So that would be the dictionary definition. But then as we kind of dig a little deeper, and I know, well, we all have our personal journey, I think, with self-compassion. I'm currently on one, been on it.
Oh, yes. I
probably
myself.
never get off of it. It's probably one of my bigger things to work on, but we'll get to that later. So I've been on this journey, and I have found Dr. Kristen Neff. Are you familiar with Dr. Kristen Neff?
Yes.
She's incredible, so highly recommend, and we'll add stuff. Olivia will figure out a way to get Dr. Kristen Neff to you guys. We'll link up her stuff because
Can she come on the show?
Oh my gosh, I wish. She's amazing. So we'll work on that, I suppose. But so she has really broken down self-compassion into 3 components.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the mindfulness component, the kindness component, and then the connectedness to humanity component.
Look at this paper.
Are we so alike?
What is going on?
Amazing. So let's talk. What's going on? We're sisters from another mister.
That's like my first part.
So same. So let's talk about the mindfulness aspect, because this is mindfulness it's described as like an umbrella. Mm-hmm. So there are many different forms of mindfulness. So would you like to begin, since you have a lot of the same stuff? Let's talk about the mindfulness portion of self-compassion.
You know, and just for those who may not, mindfulness may be a new term for you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just basically
not if they've been listening to us.
I know. But you know, it basically is just staying in the moment, staying present. You know, because we delve too much into the past, it can cause depression. We delve too much into the future and worry, it can cause anxiety. So it's staying in the moment, you know, and that's where we find our center and our peace. Mm-hmm. So it's just basically just recognition of when you're feeling stressed, right?
Okay. Yep.
You know, I'm aware that I'm stressed out right now, and I'm not going to overreact.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I like that.
You like it?
Yeah, I like it. I will add and build to that as well.
Some like it hot. Some like it
really okay. So the way I view mindfulness in as one of the components of self-compassion is really just being open and building that awareness and being in that present moment without judgment. And that's like a big part, is to allow to be and to just be as we are. And both have, come from that place of no judgment and the place of acceptance.
Yeah.
So that's where I would kind of add to that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking like of an example of that. In my past, I was told to, just kind of suck it up, don't cry, and just kind of avoid.
We're gonna get to that,
right?
For
Avoid
sure.
those feelings,
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, allowing that space, and that it's okay.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so the next is kindness, being kind to self, treating yourself with kindness, that you would a friend. Right?
Yes. You don't want, you want to, not say, sometimes we're really critical of ourselves.
Sometimes. If you're lucky, it only happens sometimes.
Yeah. And I always say, like the things that we would say to ourselves, we most likely wouldn't say that to our closest friend. You
True.
know?
Yep.
Like,
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. So kindness. So we have mindfulness, kindfulness to self. Connection.
Ooh, connection.
So in this part of the trifecta, the three components of self-compassion would be connection to humanity. And this is the space where we can normalize for ourselves that it's that universal, that people all around us feel pain sometimes.
Yeah.
People all around us are suffering. And so this component actually gives us permission to not personalize what's happening to us, right? In just recognizing that unfortunately everybody suffers at some point. Everybody, is hurting at some point.
And it's not just you. You know, it's like I see this, like, you're not alone.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not alone. There are others out there that are managing similar situations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So 3 components of self-compassion: mindfulness, kindness to self, and connection, and just normalizing and not personalizing what is happening to you at this moment. Hey, Tina. Hey, Connie.
Hi.
Hey, Cheryl.
Jersey.
Hey, Jersey.
Yeah, and it's hard to not, like, personalize,
Of course.
And personalize, fancy word for taking things personal. Like, it's not,
Right. It's me. You know, I did something. It's me. It's me.
Yeah, it's challenging.
So I think the next place to go with this would kind of be recognizing how the human brain and humans are programmed. Right? So humans view pain as a threat. Right? It's a threat, which is where, having, so a threat is having an unwanted experience, right? And it makes us then what? Feel out of control.
Yeah. Something you want to avoid.
Yeah. And so that immediately initiates our fight, flight, freeze, right? And so to just, again, this is why it's happening. It's happening because we all have a human brain, and this is how we're wired. We view pain as a threat, and we would much rather have pleasure and be experiencing pleasure.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. How many people out there agree?
Me.
Pain or pleasure?
It's true, right?
Yeah.
Pain, pleasure, absolutely. And so the other thing, so it kind of creates a cycle, if you will, right? So we have when we feel out of control, right? So something happens to us that causes us pain, causes us to suffer. We immediately go into that anxious mode, right?
Yes,
It's anxiety,
yes.
it's fight, flight, freeze. What are we going to do?
Yes.
Are we going to, if you take it back into the cavemen when fight or flight, they were coming up against a mountain lion, right? And so they were either going to fight it, they were going to flight, they were going to run, right?
Or
they were going to freeze and play possum, play dead, right? So that causes anxiety, and then we attempt to exert some kind of control over this situation that we most likely are not able to control.
And that's anxiety provoking.
Of course.
When you're trying to control an uncontrollable.
So that's a cycle within a cycle,
yes.
right? And then so we attempt to exert this control, and we wind up beating up on ourselves. we wind up, you know, just falling into this space of catastrophizing, ruminating. You know, we just
Well, let's for our audience, just for those who may not know what catastrophizing is, it's basically just thinking the worst thing is going to happen.
Right. Everything is a catastrophe.
Yes.
Well, this happened and now this happened. So
my bathroom light switch did not turn on today. I said it's going to be a bad day.
oh, so catastrophizing.
There you go.
Right. Exactly.
Was it a bad day? No.
See, absolutely.
It was a busy day.
It was a busy day. That's all right. Big difference. So
Yes.
we can recognize that when humans feel pain, suffering, right? Just to kind of review, we have a threat. We view pain as a threat. We automatically go into that fight, flight. We attempt to control it. Oftentimes we cannot. And then we wind up beating ourselves up.
Yeah.
And you know, just not treating ourselves well.
Yeah.
Anything to add for that?
You said it perfectly.
So perfect, but perfect doesn't exist. So the other thing that I recognize in self-compassion is that we automatically, right, to actually spin off this, you know, we fight pain, we want to not feel pain, we want to feel pleasure instead. So what we attempt to do is we automatically go into that problem-solving mode.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like we just take off to, you know, how am I going to do this? Why? Because we want to avoid the feeling of pain.
Yeah.
Right? So it's that automatic problem solving mode instead of being mindful, being present, acknowledging what is actually happening for us in that moment. What is the threat? What is the pain? What is the suffering? Because if we actually took the time to sit in it, we might have a very different outlook. We might be able to find some self-compassion there.
Yeah, and it's so hard to sit with like anxiety and or
Tell me
you
about
know
it.
just that uneasiness feeling. It's challenging. I don't know how many people
Absolutely.
You know,
It's uncomfortable, and we
Yeah.
don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So that's why we have all of these defense mechanisms, right? So
How can I fix it?
avoidance. Yeah, and we often go into that fix it
Yeah.
mode, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you said before, Rashidah, that, you know, about family. You started to talk about family culture,
Yeah.
family of origin, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So, you know, that definitely plays a huge part in self-compassion, as it does with all facets of our lives and personalities and how we kind of show up.
Yeah.
Right? So basically our culture does not support self-compassion. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
Because look at, you know, we open up a magazine, we scroll on Instagram, and what are the images we're seeing? I know as a woman, you know, all I see when I see all of these ads for whatever, and it just comes down to, Hilary, you just are not good enough.
Oh my
you aren't,
gosh.
But that's how,
Yeah.
you know, it's internalized, especially for women. I don't know. Well, how do you feel about that, Olivia? Do you feel the same?
I hate ads. I hate
Ah,
opening the Instagram.
She hates ads. Okay, Rashidah, what about you?
I do a lot of the comparing, like,
Yeah.
whoa, like, but then I start thinking, like, did they get work done? this
Well,
their real self?
Photoshop. Yeah, they got work done, but
You know?
you know, it's just that thing. Like we're not tall enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough, don't have enough kids, don't, you know, my husband's not. It's
Yeah.
that. So I think there's that. It's the programming. So yes, it does start in the home, our family of origin of culture, but then it's also these societal images, right?
Yeah, you know what society says is beautiful.
Right. Beautiful, successful, like whatever those things are. So basically, I was kind of like, yeah, our culture really doesn't support self-compassion.
Yeah.
That's what I came up with.
Yeah, I like it. And again, I'm going back to like the family of origin, just the messages that I got. You know.
So what were the messages like in your household?
You have to be strong, don't let them see you cry, hold that in, suck it up. Basically just don't show your emotions, don't feel your emotions, they'll look at you as being weak, so those are all like the messages that I got.
Same, very similar for me. I got pull yourself up by your bootstraps,
Whoa.
right? What was another one? Another one was if I would complain or I would be sad about something, it would be, sorry, Mom and Dad, it would be, well, it's not the worst thing that could happen. So what does that do? What does that do for me? Thanks. Yeah, it's not the worst thing, but you've now completely just invalidated my feelings. Like, I was hurting. Oh, it could be worse.
Right.
You know? You know? So, yeah, so it's important in this kind of self-compassion voyage, adventure that we are going to go on, that we kind of identify what these messages were, what was the norm, again, the goods, the bads, the rights, the wrongs, the shoulds, the shouldn'ts in your household. And it's not to blame or shame, it's just to become aware.
And you think about like all that we're battling, right? We're our family of origin and the messages they were sending us. And then just like society as a whole, and what society says you should be. Like, that's a lot of pressure.
Right.
It's a lot of pressure on someone.
Absolutely.
And then how do you find your true yourself, right?
Yeah.
What is true to you?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so this is that part, we've discussed this in prior episodes, is with the family culture piece, right? The original family culture that we're born into, that's where we learn all the goods, the bads, acceptables, unacceptables, right? And then as we move along in life and we have our own experiences and we meet new people, we get to reculture ourselves in a sense. And so that's the good news with anything and everything, is once we build this awareness, right, we can make any of these changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it doesn't, you can be older, and still, kind of find that sense of self and identity. You don't have to, I should have done it like when I was like, in my early 20s. Like, there's still time.
Oh, totally.
To kind of rebuild
I'm banking on it. Good. So, did you want to add anything else about the family culture? I feel like you wanted to say something.
You are on it today.
Well, then get on it.
I'm right on it with you.
Okay, good. So another thing that we kind of talked about, but really I think we need to dive into the why we are not very self-compassionate. And it's not because we're not kind. And it's not because we're not aware that, just in humanity, in society, there is suffering, there is pain. It's not of that. I really think that mindfulness plays this really key role. And I kind of, I was thinking about it in the past couple of days as we kind of, prep to do the shows. And, we find ourselves, I find myself a lot of time that I'm just so wrapped up in my day-to-day tasks, responsibilities, mom, wife, therapist, friend, family, all this stuff, household stuff, that, I lack the awareness unless I really tell myself, hey, you're on autopilot and you need to, like, go meditate, you need to chill out, something. We're not giving ourselves a fair shot at being self-compassionate, because we're constantly on this, we're so wrapped up in we're just going about our day.
We're like a gerbil on a wheel.
Yeah.
We're just going.
Exactly. And so I don't even think we're aware of how we're truly feeling, because we're not taking that time to take that inventory we've spoken about.
I agree so much.
Right?
Like, I think about myself, like, I'm running from one job to the next, and what do I got to do next? And, multitasking all over the place. Like, I don't even, know, when I just sat down to check in with myself and see how I'm feeling.
Yes. So we've recommended self-inventory before in a lot of, and again, for everything, we always just want to raise awareness, right? We can't make any tweaks, changes without raising that self-awareness. But this one really hit me for some reason. 'Cause, like, when do I ever check in with myself? Like, hey, how am I feeling? Like,
I think the only time I really check in with myself is when, like, something happens where, like, I get sick or something, and I'm exhausted, and I'm, like, something major has to happen for me to be like, whoa, I've been, I've been doing
what's
too much.
going on with me? I haven't, right?
Yeah.
For me, it was, plenty of times, but yesterday I was working on my son's ELA homework with him, and I was so frustrated and I had no patience, and I was just not proud of how I showed up. I didn't show up with really any compassion for him, any and then I beat myself up for it, and then I called him on his way to hockey practice and I apologized. But, I didn't have any compassion in that moment. Yeah. So it's when we're kind of just rolling about, and we don't actually stop.
Then you start thinking like, oh, okay, if I wasn't so stressed, maybe I could have handled that a little differently.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're all stressed out right now.
Absolutely, which is why it's even more, this is why we thought to do an episode on self-compassion. Yeah. Because we have never been more stressed as just a human race. We have just never been this stressed, since COVID and everything.
Yeah, and it's just, there's just so many things that are going on, that our brains just don't have any finalization.
Well, there's been no end date to these, to what's going on. So, and even more of a reason to kind of delve into this self-compassion journey.
Yeah. I feel like I'm like in this like hyper-arousal state, like just waiting for what's next.
Yeah.
What's
a lot of us
next.
feel that way, like if I see hashtag 2020 one more time on social media, like we're waiting for the giant, I don't know, dragons to swoop in. And, right after COVID hit, they were like, people were taking bets on what's coming in July, what's coming in August, So, I think a lot of people, clearly are in that stressed state of like, the anticipatory anxiety stuff, like, okay, well, this already happened, so what's going to happen now? What am I going to be up against, tomorrow? Or, and we're seeing that, right now with COVID, and numbers are coming up, and, so it's been a very tough time. So again, a very good time to dive into self-compassion. At least learn about it, We're not saying that you have to go be, the most compassionate person towards self, but at least build that awareness so we can maybe break some habits, because it is habitual, and maybe we can just start breaking those patterns of like negative self-talk. So for you, how does compassion, or the other end of it, how does that show up for you? So we have self-compassion, right? And then we also have what we've referred to on here before as the inner critic. Yeah. Right. So we all have our inner critic. That's, quote, normal. But, sometimes the voice gets really loud. So how do you, what are some of your things that you feel like you're up against?
So I wasn't going to talk about this, but my dad had passed away. And I just feel like this is just the best example of self-compassion. And recently. And, you put things in perspective when you lose somebody.
Sure.
And it just made me slow down and just look at what was important and how I was feeling. And I really had to sit in my feelings. Couldn't run to work and hide. The kids, they were just the kids. They do their thing, but there was nowhere to hide. I couldn't hide from myself. I couldn't hide from my feelings, even though I wanted to. I wanted to run. I had to sit in it. And that was the hardest thing that I've ever done before, is sit in those feelings and just feel it. We want to avoid, and, it broke me in a sense, and, and then that inner critic started coming, and, like and even my mom said, sorry, Mom, but my mom was just like, stop crying. And I said, this was the first time I ever said it. Like, no, Mom, I'm not going to stop crying. It's okay for me to feel what I'm feeling. Oh, my God. Yes. I've never said that. And I said it to her because I just, for so long, I'm in my 40s, people, young 40.
I'm looking fine.
But I had never said it to her. She would say it to me all the time if I was crying. It was just like, stop. And I would stop. And this time it was just like, no, I'm going to feel what I feel. And, and that's that. If I want to cry, I'm going to cry. And I cried and I cried and I cried and I still cry.
Yeah.
Sure. But I just started thinking about, don't be hard on yourself. Like, it's okay for you to grieve right now. Why shouldn't you be grieving? It's okay for you to take time off from the podcast, and that's one of the reasons why we have been on a hiatus.
Because you were having self-compassion.
Yeah.
And you were giving yourself what you needed.
Yeah.
And I just have to say, I am so...
Hilary, you're going to be crying.
No, I am just so proud of you and honored that you would share this, because I know that was not the plan, and your courage always amazes me, and the fact that you were able to find your voice with your mom.
Yeah,
no offense, Mom, I know you're amazing, but that you were able to say no, the way that no, it is okay to cry.
Yeah.
I don't agree with you. And so...
After 40 some odd years.
Well, that's a huge step.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah.
Mazel, honey. That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And...
saying that they love you.
Huh?
Thank you, guys. I've had,
Thank
such
you.
great support,
That's
even
beautiful.
And allowing people in.
Right.
I've just been so thankful to people who were so supportive and just there and giving me space to grieve.
Yeah. Well,
So
proud of you.
yeah.
Amazing.
That's true self-compassion there, people.
That absolutely is true
and I
self-compassion.
also asked for another day off. Like I had, you certain grieving day, and I asked my boss, shout out to Robin Heisen, can I take an extra day? And she was like, of course.
Right.
Of course.
And that takes a lot for you
Yeah.
to ask.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a workaholic. I'm like,
yes, you are.
get in, and I just knew I just couldn't do it that day.
Well, how incredible of you to stand up for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So thank you for letting me share that in this space, and I hope other people would be able to find their voice, that it's okay to cry. You're not a weak person for crying. I think there are people who cry are the most powerful people.
Absolutely. It's strength.
Don't let it eat you, eat you up.
That's
Just
right.
Get it out.
That's right.
Why we have tears, people. It's why we tears, not just to clean our dirt out of our eyes.
So yes. So
What about? Yeah, go ahead, Hilary.
No, so that was just thank you. I'm kind of blown away right now, so I'm gonna compose myself because I didn't know we were going there.
I didn't know either, but
And
I
that
felt
is-
like I had to.
Listen, this is the beauty of live podcasting, right?
Yeah.
So just to it was just really interesting to me how you brought up the family of origin stuff. Don't cry, right? And so because this is where our inner critics are born. Our inner critics are born in our original family culture, our family origin. And it's not to pick on, shame, or blame our parents or whoever raised us.
Yeah.
It's just to say that this is where that messaging began. This is where when you failed a test and someone was, you're a loser, you're never going to amount to anything.
Yeah.
That's where this stuff comes from, you're so pretty, but you should really lose a little bit of weight. That's
Right.
all that stuff. It just comes back and it
like
builds.
weeds.
Yeah, it does. And that's how our inner critic is. And so part of self-compassion is learning how to turn down the volume of the inner critic and not allow them to overpower what we know in our hearts, who we are. And so
And we are not who other people say we are.
right,
They don't define. They do not define us.
we define us.
I feel like I'm on an empowerment movement.
Oh,
Shout out to the Empowerment Center.
Hey, I love that place. That's our place. Love it. So we do have some kind of actionable measures / practical solutions.
Wait, did we do yours?
Well, I mean, mine was just going to be an example.
Yeah, well, we want to hear your example.
Yeah, but it's nothing.
Don't.
No. It's
compare.
Well, seriously, you just came in with the loss of your dad, and I am going to. Here. So it was just a little example of while I was getting ready to come here.
Okay.
but and I think when we started the show, I share that this is something that I truly struggle with. Self-compassion, my inner critic.
Yeah.
It is something that I work on in therapy every Thursday at 10 a.m. because therapy is cool.
So your family, what was some of them? I know you've shared this before. What was some of the messages that you kind of heard?
The messages that I heard / distorted /
Yes.
there were so many, and you know how my parents are watching, listening, so I'm gonna get in trouble. But again, it's the I'm feeling sad about this. Well, it could always be worse, or that kind of stuff. So kind of just invalidating what was happening for me in that moment, unbeknownst to them.
Yeah.
And just stuff like that with, if I wasn't eating properly, eating the right things, and, oh, well, you better be careful because you might only have 5 pounds to lose now, but it turns to 10 and then it'll turn to 20.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
And then, like you said, they may not have meant it to be hurtful, but we in our minds just kind of make an interpretation, change it up.
Well, and especially depending on the age that it happened, that it occurs, it's how we internalize it, how we distort some of these messages. Because I know my parents, everything that they did came from a place of love, of them doing the best they can with what they knew.
Yeah.
And
then we look for messages in the universe, right? So if someone says, if my message is, you're not good enough, I'm going to say, oh, this is why he left me this relationship.
Absolutely. And it becomes that kind of, it becomes our narrative.
It does.
And we're looking for stuff like that. So what I was going to say with self-compassion.
I'm with it.
Yeah, but it's kind of silly, but maybe it's not silly because maybe you guys can relate. My inner critic is really, really loud. And for example, today I was curling my hair like I do, well, basically just on every Wednesday because that's the only time I go out, put on makeup, get out of my pajamas. I was curling my hair and I burnt my finger.
Ooh.
And immediately I heard it in my head, you a-hole, like, really? You curl your hair all the time, you're gonna burn yourself now so just that beating up instead of being like, ow, am I okay? That hurt. I just went right into that, so a little different from yourself. I feel
and it
silly
makes
sharing
sense because I think I shared this before. About 80% of our thoughts are negative. So it makes sense why you went right to that.
Yep, went right to the bashing, the beating up of self.
And I think other people can relate. Like you drop something, you trip over something, you're like, oh, I'm clumsy, or you're not like, oh, I'm not clumsy, I'm just falling in love with you.
Yeah, well, working on it. Oh, thanks, Cheryl. Loves the Empowerment Center. Thank you. The Empowerment Center is my baby with my partners, Robin and Kristen. It is an incredible place to be. So anybody needing therapy out there, we'll get you help. And so I guess let's shift gears onto some actionable measures / practical solutions, unless you have more to say on self-compassion. And if you guys want to chime in, if you have any questions about self-compassion, let it flow. Or thanks, Ming, for the shout out to the Empowerment Center and our beautiful shared universe podcast studio.
Too bad we can't zoom in on that.
I made it a crazy cool medallion today. This is a present from Ming. Oops. It just fell off, but
this
I'm
should be
gonna
like
put it
the
here.
Batman sign that you put into
it.
the thing, and then it's just like podcast.
So thank you for that. Yeah, this place is amazing.
Yes.
I
have some stuff.
Yes, go ahead. Bring it on.
Basically, so what would be the reason to be compassionate to our oneself, right? Studies show that people who are self-compassionate are happier, right?
Ma'am.
Because they become more optimistic, and in their optimism, they engage in better relationships. They
show up in a better space.
Yes,
they attract better things.
Yes,
like attracts like people.
Yes, absolutely. And just kind of realizing that we do not have to be perfect.
No such thing.
There's no such thing as perfect.
Cheers.
And also people, they're less stressed. what does it say? Compassion is a powerful antidote to the self-criticism and perfectionist thinking.
It sure is. And a lot of us are guilty about, wanting to chase perfection. I have clients all the time.
You made me think about on IG, my gratitude quote. I put something about like,
fast food last night?
Yeah, thank goodness for fast food. I'm gonna tell you, because I'm tired. I work all day. I'm exhausted. And then most of the time, even when I cook something, the kids don't want it, and I could have been sleeping for 4 hours.
So annoying.
They just rather eat like veggie sticks and cheese doodles. So
what was on IG? What were you saying?
So basically, I was putting like what I was grateful for, and I was grateful for fast food when I'm like tired and exhausted, and instead of like pushing myself to like cook, even though I'm exhausted and tired, I just order a pizza. People know me. I order a pizza, and then I can engage in a better way with my kids instead of like trying to make some pot roasted potatoes at 6:00 at night.
Absolutely. Oof, that is very, very lofty goal, my friend. Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. So that's some and it's okay. You know, it's okay that we do pizza and Wawa and McDonald's and.
Agreed. Well, I mean, listen, I can hop on that bandwagon and say I am always very grateful for fast food when I'm feeling really down. It's like, well, listen, this is not good. And again, I tell you, I'm in therapy. I work on these things. So, sometimes it just feels like a warm, salty, fatty hug.
Oh, I like that.
Right? Yeah. Thank you, Meg. I appreciate it. Olivia, too. Yes.
It could be a little sweaty, a little greasy.
Listen, whatever. But sometimes you need that salty, greasy, fatty hug. And so I will second that then.
I think it may be a Popeyes night for me.
I've still never had Popeyes. Okay, so let's get down to some actionable measures. I've never had it.
I've never had it too.
See? Olivia's never had it.
There. Like, it's right there.
I guess you're
Future podcast from Popeyes, Ming? What do you think? Okay. So let's talk about some actionable measures here. I, again, in reading Dr. Neff stuff, and that's Dr. Neff, Neff. She's incredible. She's actually, just a little FYI, she is one of the pioneers in the empirical study kind of stuff, like the real the evidence-based stuff. She was one of the pioneers to actually begin to study self-compassion. And again, we'll link some stuff.
I see a question from Cheryl. Is self-compassion the same as self-worth?
Good question. And I say no.
Yeah.
I say it is not.
Yeah. Because again, it's just being kind to yourself. So, if I'm struggling with something, if I'm stressed out about something, I'm not, gonna like get down on myself,
right.
And say I'm a bad mom because I don't like cook every day. I'm gonna just be like, hey, I'm tired, and
and
it's
sometimes
okay.
Self-worth can waver. Self-worth wavers upon how we've performed or the perceived way we've performed.
Yeah.
I think self-compassion is something that we can learn and really learn to abide by. More of a how we want to show up always, no matter what. Even if we failed that test, burnt the pot roast, or whatever.
I don't burn pot roast.
Oh, that's right. Beans only burn on a grill, right? Okay. Sorry. So great question. Yes, they are different, and that is why. Hey, Tammy.
Oh, shout out to Tammy. We're going to be doing a special
yes, we will talk about that.
Youth Talk coming up in December.
Yes.
So shout out to Tammy.
Hey, Tammy. Okay, so actionable measures. So as I was listening to Dr. Neff, she challenged us to kind of close your eyes and take your time to think of a moment, a past experience that you might have had with a friend, a close friend or a family member who was struggling, either struggling for any particular, work, relationship, health, family, that kind of thing. So we had a friend who was struggling, right? Now take a minute to think about how you responded. What were your words? What kind of words did you use with them? What was your language? What was your tone of voice? Did you hug them? Did you, hold their hand? How did you show up, right? And really kind of let that sink in for a minute. How you showed up for your friend, right? In their time of suffering, in their time of pain, right? So think about that, and then let's turn it for a minute and attempt to move this same vision to yourself, right? When was the last time you struggled? What was your last struggle with home or work or health, family, relationship, anything, right? And how did you treat yourself? What language did you use? Did you use that same supportive language that you did with a friend? How was your tone, right? How did you show up for yourself? And this is just a really eye-opening step, right? That we can take, again, to build awareness, because we can't make, again, any changes or tweaks without having an awareness, right? So if you just were able to go through that and recognize, wow, I showed up as such a good friend. I showed up as myself. I was so me, right? Connie, you told her, I'm here, right? I'm here for you. I'm so sorry you're going through this. What can I do, right? Maybe you gave him or her a hug, right? But did you use harsh language, right? So then we turn it around. Look what I did. I just told you. I burnt myself with a curling iron, and the first thing I did was, you idiot, right? This tone, this language, this just unkind.
Yeah, did you tell your friend, suck it up,
right?
Get over it, what's wrong with you?
Don't cry.
Right? Come on now.
Absolutely. So I really like that, and I wanted to share that with you because I feel like it's just it's a good barometer for where you may or may not be in your self-compassion journey, and to challenge yourself to do that. And to, now that we have this, we just did this here, that allows us to be more mindful.
And I don't know if this is on your list of things, like, maybe just kind of just take an inventory of the things that you say to yourself. Like, try to catch it.
Absolutely.
Because it happens so fast. Like you said, you burned yourself and you're like, oh,
a-hole.
Yeah. So try to catch it, throughout your day.
Absolutely.
And you may realize that you do more of that, negative self-talk.
Absolutely. And negative self-talk, exactly. These are the same skills that we use for anxiety, for depression, for any kind of thing, a negative thought pattern. We have to build the awareness and then see that stop sign and say, whoa, this is not cool. I don't deserve to be treated like this. That was my one actionable measure.
That's
and
a really
then,
good one.
The other thing is to just ask yourself, how do I want to show up for others? And how do I want to show up for myself?
And that you are, and I guess this goes to worth, you are worth it.
Right, absolutely.
You are worth it.
Yeah. And so, Cheryl, so then coming back to your question, self-worth definitely plays a part in self-compassion.
Yeah.
So really great that you connected those two.
Yeah.
And then I heard, I was listening to something or reading something, and it was an acronym, and it was FUCK.
Which says fuck.
I was not going to say that. Rashidah.
What?
I was not saying that. So F is for friendly. This is the acronym for how you want to be for yourself. So F was friendly, U is useful, C is calm,
Well, it says
K
it
is
right there.
kind. So I don't know, but I thought that was a helpful acronym there. So friendly, useful, calm, and kind.
And if
Rashidah.
you can't remember, just think fuck.
Okay, well, yeah. On that note, did you have anything else to add about self-compassion today?
Well, I just want to say that it takes a lot of work.
Yes.
Right? That inner critic, that story has been running for many years, and it just takes a lot of hard work.
Yep.
And again, therapy is a wonderful place to work through that.
What?
That story that's not true.
Yep.
Absolutely. And that's where I'm at with that. And I always say, try therapy. If it didn't work with one therapist, there's other therapists out there.
Okay. So I think it is time for us to go on over to the
It's getting skimpy.
bowl of no shame. I'll fill her up.
I actually have a question.
Oh, Olivia has a
Ooh.
question. Go ahead.
How does judging other people affect your inner critic?
I like that. So Olivia asked we have to get you on a mic next time. So, right? So how does judging other people affect your inner critic? That is a great question. And I think for me, I go right to law of attraction, with if you are going to sit judgment on others, judgment is just going to come back to you. And likely, and then the conversely, I would turn it back and say that if you are sitting judgment on others, the likelihood is that you have been raised or cultured to judge. Does that make sense? Like it's ingrained in you to judge. And it's just that negative kind of space.
And I think there's maybe a layer of insecurity.
Oh, sure.
A layer of
Absolutely.
insecurity.
Yeah, usually like in a bullying situation,
Yeah.
we've talked about bullying before. Bullying, it's never about the person being bullied. It's about the bully. The bully doesn't have confidence, doesn't feel good about self. Therefore, they have to go make somebody else not feel good in order to make themselves feel strong or better. Right?
Yeah, I don't have time to judge people. I got too much going on in my life.
Absolutely.
Too busy.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time
But
for
good
that.
question.
Great question.
Okay, Rashidah, bowl of no shame. I definitely just got rid of one of Rashidah's, and I'm putting it away before you can even.
Is it the poop one?
Yes.
How did I know?
My dad won't let me say it.
Oh my god.
My dad. See, Dad, I put it away. Rashidah, 2-day getaway. Where do you go?
Oh, 2-day getaway. Where do I go? It's a boring question.
Really?
It's not.
I don't go anywhere.
Well,
so to
then
go
where are you
outside
going?
is a big deal. I would go to
Make it wild.
Yeah.
Like totally
Costa
random,
Rica.
Ooh, yes, Costa Rica.
Yep. And I did think about that at one point a year or two ago. Just like a weekend getaway.
Amazing.
Yeah, I did
Love
think about that.
I think I would want to go. I definitely want to go to Costa Rica, but I want to go to Ireland.
Oh.
Yes, I want to go and see all of the greens, the thick green, everything, seeing all the beautiful, and then I want to have a Guinness in a pub in Dublin.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So that's me.
And you guys could always
You're
answer
up.
the question too.
Yeah,
So
where do you
could
guys
just,
want to go? Where?
You know. Oh,
I used
this
to do
is
Irish
kind of
dance for like
sad that I can.
I used to do Irish dance for like a year or so.
Really? Don't say that. You might have to do it.
Question: Who is your girl crush?
I have a lot. Honestly, in my 40s, I'm like, I question a lot of things here. I'm finding women beautiful. Who, my girl crush? I would say, okay, I'll give you the top 3. You're asking for one, but I'll just give you 3. Gina Carano.
Who's she?
She is a former, I don't know if she was in MMA. That's, Gina Carano. Yeah, that's my favorite picture of her with the black and white. Yes, Ming, you are, seriously, you're
He is on top.
Okay, so she is just somebody that is just incredible to me and just attractive physically, I love that the MMA fighting and stuff. Yeah, and thank you for that. She's fantastic, and she's like moved this into another career. She's just incredible.
Cool.
So her standard Drew Barrymore, and I think, yeah, I don't know if Drew Barrymore's. It's a crush, but it's also just like someone I feel like would just be my soul sister. Like her and I've always felt this connection because we're the same age, and we know who Drew is. I love her. Yeah, and maybe who else right now? I don't know. I mean, maybe that's it for now.
I'll do 3.
Okay.
I'll do 3.
So who's
First
your girl?
one-
Wait, I didn't even ask you. Who's your girl crush?
I
Rashidah?
got a couple of chicks. That
Okay.
are my girl crush.
Uh-huh.
First one is up. Let's throw a picture of the Queen Bee, Beyonce.
I was gonna say. I was like Beyonce. Yes.
Beyonce.
Yes, of course.
Just phenomenal,
Mhm.
beautiful, multifaceted.
Yes.
She's a very. I don't know if you ever heard her like speak
She's
and
a
talk.
queen.
She's so
She's
kind,
eloquent and chill. Yes.
but she could be fierce. You could just
Mhm.
switch it. Sasha. Fierce.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
Beyonce is on my to-do crush.
Amazing. Love it. Oh, she's on your to-do. I got you.
See, where's your mind going?
To-do?
My to-do crush means like I'm going to do
To do her?
to do
That's
her,
what you're capturing.
you know. But let's move past that.
Okay.
Let's move past that. Scarlett Johansson.
I was right. Oh, Scarlett Johansson. She's
Oh,
amazing.
I don't know. I just love her.
Yes.
Like, she's just so
Oh my God.
cool.
beautiful.
Right?
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep.
And she's another kind one, and you know.
Sure.
I don't think you'll. Well, the last one
Is.
is she played in Basic Instinct and Sliver.
Oh, Sharon Stone.
She's just so powerful to me.
Why?
Something
That moment
about
in the
her.
white dress, and she was just like, roar!
What do you mean the moment in the white dress?
When she showed her
So you weren't
Hulu.
listening to the questioning. You were just focused on when she like.
Yeah, weren't you? I was like, she's gonna show it. Yeah. All right, we're going left quick, but yes, she is just incredible. And I just remembered my third one, Ellen Barkin.
Oh. Okay.
Yes. If nobody's watching Animal Kingdom, there she is. She is just to me the
She
epitome of
is
sexy woman.
wonderful.
Badass, incredible actress.
Yes.
Wonderful body of work. Wonderful body. And that concludes our
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yes.
girl crush.
Yes.
No shame. Anybody? Okay.
Anybody got
Anybody
a girl
else?
crush? Shannon, girl crush? Hello.
Okay. So those were our bowl of no shame questions. So just a couple of announcements.
Yes.
Our next topic is going to be our first part 1 of Holiday Stress Edition, and kind of
Yes.
how to prep for the holidays,
Yes.
how to engage or not with people that we don't
Yes.
want to.
Yes.
Also, how to kind of deal with the fact that the holidays might not be that big this year.
Right, and
Because
we're
of COVID.
still in a pandemic,
Yeah.
you know, and what is that going to look like for you? And maybe we have to get a little creative,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with
For
how we
sure.
celebrate.
For sure. And then also our social media, Julia Roberts. I hear you,
Ooh, Julia
Shannon. Who doesn't
Roberts.
love that auburn mane of
Oh my
hair and that
God, Pretty
Bambi?
Woman.
The
Remember Pretty
Bambi.
Woman?
Do I remember? I can
Oh my
literally
gosh,
recite
she's-
every.
oh,
Yes.
yeah.
So yes, Julia Roberts. I think we have to have a whole show on.
Oh, back
girl
in the day, it was like
crushes.
Molly Ringwald. Remember
Oh,
Molly
she was.
Ringwald?
Dude, of course I do.
Oh, Sweet
You
16.
kidding me?
Okay.
16 candles. 16 candles, but whatever.
I love it.
Yes. So, again, please, it really helps out if you guys can like us on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, and we. And
Oh,
we-
yeah. And Olivia wants to remind us about we're doing a gratitude challenge in
Yes.
November. So Rashidah and I have been posting about our daily gratitude via Olivia.
we want to see your
And
things.
yeah, and thank you for your participation because
Yeah.
they're coming in. So please help
Yeah.
participate in that. Please go on to Spotify, iTunes, and
SoundCloud. Yeah.
and download. And again, keep sending us topics that you would like.
And going back
hear?
to Facebook, like you know, I know we got a lot of fans out there, you know.
Fans.
And
I love her. She's
yeah,
so funny.
we do. And so tell your friends to tell their friends to like the page and follow us. You know?
because we're here to normalize the struggle of everyday stress, mental health, you know, and just kind of keeping it real and being able to have a forum to talk about it. So that's all we want to do here. And the more help we get from you,
the better.
The further reach we have, and people find out about us, and we can grow. And we also have a really exciting show coming up with some adolescents.
Oh yes,
so
Teen
let's plug
Talk.
that. Yeah, so
On
Rashidah,
mental health. Yeah,
absolutely.
so we've partnered with another wonderful organization, but I'm going to keep that on the low until we unveil.
And if you have any questions regarding adolescents, parenting adolescents, and that kind of stuff, or if your adolescents at home have any questions, then you know, feel free to write in, and we will address them. So
absolutely. You know, I mean, you know, our children and our youth, you know, are our future, and their mental health is very important because they do go through some of the mental health challenges.
We are the youth of a nation. What is that? Where did that come
I don't
from?
know. I don't know why I see like a fire. I don't know.
Okay, well, on that note, thank you everybody for being here. It's good to be back, Rashidah.
It is good to be back.
You are my idol, and thank you. I'm gonna now do that because you know COVID.
Like, I mean, really, like we were like sitting next to each other. In
Thank
the car.
you, everybody.
We hugged.
Share and
share to the elevator
tune in
together.
next week for our first edition of Holiday Stress.
Yes.
And be well, be kind to one another and yourselves.
Peace.
Bye.
The Not Okay, It's Okay podcast includes casual conversations related to mental health, self-care, practical tips and resources, along with validation that not being okay is okay. You acknowledge and agree that the following warnings and disclaimers shall apply to all of our content.
This podcast represents the opinions of Hilary Scheer, LPC, and Rashidah Cartwright, LCADC, and their guests to the show. The information provided is for informational purposes only, and we recommend that you consult with a healthcare professional for medical or mental health advice.
The views and opinions expressed in the Not Okay, It's Okay podcast are our own and do not represent that of our places of work. Do not use our content in lieu of professional advice given by qualified medical or mental health professionals. Always seek the advice of your own medical mental health provider related to your specific medical or mental health condition prior to implementing any recommendations or suggestions from using our content.
Privacy is of great importance to us. That being said, all people, places, and scenarios mentioned in the podcast have been changed to protect patient confidentiality.